Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, May 11th, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald, here with the latest in Norwood News. On Monday night, attorney David Hearn represented Bach Automotive at the Planning Board meeting. He proposed an A&R, Approval Not Required plan, to combine parking lots 114 and 121 on 63 Moore Street land located in South Norwood. The proposed plan creates a 3-year zoning freeze on that property. The A&R plan is subject to discussion at special town meeting, which begins Monday night, because town members petitioned to rezone the Moore Street property from manufacturing to residential. Since the plan does not require a formal approval from the board, Hearn, on behalf of Bach, instead asked for their endorsement.
I think you know the effect of the endorsement. The effect of the filing of this, followed by your endorsement, is to create a zoning freeze with respect to use under the statute.
Town planner Paul Halkiotis concluded that the submitted plan is in compliance with the requirements of an approval not required plan. He explained the effect that this proposed plan will have on the upcoming special town meeting.
Yeah, I've reviewed the plan, and the plan complies with all of the requirements for an approval not required plan. This parcel,
Small parcel, huh?
and that parcel are under the same ownership, and it makes sense to dissolve that lot line and make that all one parcel. And as Attorney Hearn has indicated, the effect of the plan is to freeze the zoning for manufacturing uses for a period of 3 years. And result is that the article submitted by Michael Sad to rezone the property will not have much effect at all, since the manufacturing use is being frozen by this plan. The zoning was frozen the day that Attorney Hearn submitted the plans. It doesn't matter whether the planning board votes to approve this plan or deny this plan. Either way, the way the statute's written, the zoning in effect today, prior to town meeting, is frozen for a period of 3 years.
Right now, the lot is home to several of the town's school buses, but those could be relocated at the discretion of the property owner. In other news, Norwood High School Athletic Hall of Fame President Brian McDonough recently announced this year's nominations to be inducted in the fall. Let's take a look at this year's nominations.
Well, we got a couple. I'm going to start off with a couple of coaches that are familiar because they're both graduates of Norwood High School. First one, Donna Glazier Brown, graduated from Norwood in 1976. She was a cheerleading coach from 1980 to 1994 and just compiled an amazing record with 12 Bay State League titles, 10 regionals, 8 state, and 5 nationals. So just an amazing accomplishment, and how exciting that she's back here in Norwood as the Callahan principal. So really excited about that. Speaking of principals, we have another principal who's going in as coach. Class of 1986, he graduated in 86. As a student athlete here at Norwood, and it's interesting. Great athletes don't necessarily make great coaches, but in this case we had a combination, and that's Jim Forrest from the class of 86. But his coaching career began in 1991 to 2010. He did that for 19 seasons, which is just amazing. And for much of that, he did it for 2 or 3 seasons a year, because track, cross country, they kind of run back to back. Yeah. So during that time, I know he had at least 11 Bay State League titles, we're confirming all the results, multiple state champions. And any of the track athletes that we've inducted last year was Taylor Ryan, a hurdler. She got a lot of her help from Coach Jim Forrest. And again, just named the principal at Dedham High School. Yeah. Dedham's very lucky. No, he's not so lucky. We miss him. So
still NVA.
Yes. From the class of 1943, we have Ed Prino from the class of 1943, who was a football, hockey, baseball player, captain for the undefeated football team, and a Globe All-Star. So his family is still in town. The Prinos and the Sweeneys, Kevin Sweeney, a big Norwood name. Yeah. So we're thrilled to have Ed coming in posthumously, but his family will be there to represent him. Then I actually have a classmate of mine who, back in the 70s, we didn't realize how many different things were going on with 600 kids in a class. But Alicia Kelly, from the class of 1974, played on the boys' golf team. They didn't have a girls' golf team, and she was a state champion. And, wow. It's just amazing that, this was something that I was unaware of. Right. And, we had a state champion in golf, but it was from a girl competing in the boys team. So
Fantastic.
what an
Yeah, that's right.
accomplishment
Yep.
there. Then we have Ned Brigham from the class of 1985, football, basketball, baseball, multi-time Bay State League All-Star, transcript All-Star, as well as Globe All-Star. So really just phenomenal. And he's joining his brother and sister, Billy and Kim, who were also inducted recently. So from the class of 1996, Corey Ferris, Wright, his last maiden name now, but field hockey, softball, multi-team All-Star, Bay State League, and league MVP. So softball was really her big, go-to. Then from the class of 1999, Jen Chin, field hockey, indoor track, and spring track. Another, phenomenal field hockey team going on around that time. Sharon Stye was a coach, Bay State League All-Star, Transcript Ledger, Globe and Herald. And then somebody I had a chance to work with my first year back here in Norwood from the class of 2003, Lisa Davenport Reginini, cross-country indoor track and spring track, multi-time All-Star as well as a Divisional III state champion. So really excited about this class, and again, it will be the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and we'll have more information, we'll be promoting it, but the committee just met this past week to come up with it, and real excited about it. Looking forward to another good year.
The Norwood Senior Center's mission is to identify the needs and promote services for older adults. The center is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and during the summer they remain open until 8 p.m. on Tuesday evenings. To contact them, call 781-762-1201 or visit www.norwoodma.gov.
Welcome back to Norwood News. In town government this week, we start Monday with the Planning Board. After the Bach Automotive hearing, the board heard from a representative of Meditech. Meditech wants to swap 2 parcels of land on their property. Skating Club of Boston planned to purchase land from Meditech that Lost Brook Golf Course currently sits on. The parcel swap would give Meditech exclusive use of a driveway that is currently on site. On Tuesday, the Board of Selectmen met with Mark Redlick, Director of Computer Services for the town. Redlick reported on his department achievements since a new full-time hire was brought in several months ago.
Okay, so we hired Mr. Sean Warnick in October of last year, end of October. So far, we've installed a new redundant firewall, which helps us with our constant fight against cyber attacks. It's our first line of defense. It stops unauthorized access to our data, to our systems. It stops our users from going to the wrong places, and it keeps us safe. We've upgraded our buildings. All of our buildings now have new devices and new 10 gigabit fiber. It means it's 10 times faster than it previously was. It means we can move more data, video, and communications through the network. We've rewired the Civic, making it ready for wireless, security cameras, and VoIP. We've configured and distributed over 30 tablets to the Board of Selectmen, the FinCom, the Personnel Board, the Retirement Board, and various department heads. We've installed a private cloud device called the QNAP, which is used by those tablets and other devices to share documents. And we've installed a new wireless network, kind of Norwood guest network at the Town Hall, Public Works, Civics, the Civic building, and it's going to go into the police, fire, eventually library. We're going to spread it out. Residents can come in and just join without a password and have internet access. We now have installed a new help desk software. The users can send email to an email address, and it creates a ticket. It can be tracked, and all of our techs, all 4 of us, take a look at the tickets and kind of make sure that what needs to get done gets done. We're going to turn our attention next to security cameras at the Town Hall, the Civic, the Senior Center, And then we're going to integrate the existing security network that we have, the DPW, the bathhouse, the library. And then further into the summer, we're going to start the VoIP project, which we've been sitting on for a couple of years. We're going to VoIP the library, the civic, police and fire, and then eventually the town hall.
The board also heard from Katie Neal Rizzo and John Apria of Progress Norwood, who were key contributors in last month's Earth Day cleanup and celebration, which included over 229 volunteers. Katie and John gave an in-depth presentation on the results of the cleanup, resulting in 168 bags of trash collected at various sites all over town. The cleanup ended with a picnic and fair at the town common, where over 300 residents came together to learn more about the environment while enjoying live music and refreshments. Speaking of refreshments, Mark Hannon, the new proprietor of Cafe Venice in South Norwood, also appeared before the board to transfer a restaurant all-alcoholic beverages license from the previous ownership, as well as apply for a common victualler's license. Selectman Howard asked the question that many people have been wondering since the change of hands in ownership.
Will the prime rib nights continue?
Absolutely. Wednesday through Sunday.
That's what we want to know. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Wednesday afternoon, the Community Preservation Committee discussed plans to restore the historic Norwood Chapel in the Highland Cemetery. The committee voted on two important building blocks: how much to spend on the project and how to fund it. There was a vote not to exceed $400,000 in renovations and to fund the project outright from the town's budget reserve. The committee unanimously decided against a previous funding proposal from the Historical Society, rejecting their offer to borrow funds to support the project. The Airport Commission also met on Wednesday afternoon for a brief meeting. Airport Manager Russ McGuire informed the committee that they are still waiting to receive a $2 million grant from the Federal Aviation Administration. The manager is eager to receive these funds to put projects into motion at the airport. McGuire also reported to the committee that the two vehicles the airport had received had been registered and received license plates. Shifting into Wednesday night, the school committee journeyed to the Norwood High School Library, one of the last stops on this year's traveling school committee. The committee had a full agenda, starting off with some younger travelers. Students from the NHS foreign language classes gave presentations around the different countries they visited this year. Places toured include Rome and the Dominican Republic. Academics weren't the only A covered, however. Students gave well-rounded presentations on academics, athletics, arts, and activities, an A+ to all who presented. The school committee continued their meeting well into the evening, covering town meeting warrant, budget, summer school tuition, and the final candidates for Norwood High School principal.
The screening committees for our principal positions have completed their work. I'd like to thank both committees for all of their hard work. We do have 3 finalists, so I would like to announce who the finalists are this evening, as well as give parents and staff a heads up as to when the forms will be next week. So at the high school, we have 3 finalists. One is Cindy Durain, who is the foreign language department head here at Norwood High School. The second is Anthony Chillarello, who is the chief academic officer at Tech Boston Academy, which is a Boston Public Schools pilot school. He is the chief academic officer. And the third finalist is Hugh Galligan. He is the associate principal at Hanover High School and has been for the last 7 or 8 years, I believe.
For a full catalog of government coverage, visit NCM On Demand at www.norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Now we take you across the studio to Tim Rose for the latest in school news.
Hi guys, let's take a look at events and activities happening around our Norwood school community. The Norwood High School PTO held their Teacher Appreciation Program and recognized school nurses Carol McDonough and Kathy Crowley by awarding them the Caring Heart Award. And Norwood High School named Brian Martinelli the 2018 Outstanding Teacher Award. There was some teacher appreciation at the Coakley Middle School as well. The CMS staff would like to say a big thank you to their PTO for the delicious breakfast and restocking their coffee and snack cabinet. Coakley Middle School held their first ever wellness night at CMS. Parents and students learned how to stay healthy and have fun this summer. There were activities run by our wellness staff, a presentation on the dangers of vaping, and delicious snacks provided by Wegmans, Roach Brothers, and our own food services. At an enrichment program at the Balch School, students had an opportunity to explore their passion for Pokemon. Using their math and reading skills, students battled one another playing the classic card game they love. The highlight of this program was having the opportunity to meet new friends with similar interests, as well as showcasing their creative side. Throughout the 6 weeks, students had the ability to create their own Pokemon, paint and plant a Pokemon, as well as create a Pokeball terrarium for their Pokemon to live in. A huge thank you to the Balch PTO for sponsoring all the enrichment programs offered at the Balch this spring. The Balch's 3rd grade classes went to Plymouth Plantation on April 26th. The students enjoyed learning about life in both the Plymouth Colony and nearby Wampanoag Village. Also at the Balch, the Video Club produced 2 public service announcements. Let's take a look on one produced about hall safety.
Hallway expectations. Space and silence. Stay to the right. Facing front. Walking feet.
Quiet in the hallway, please.
Reading in the halls.
Jamie, you shouldn't be reading in the hall. I'm scared.
Great job, guys. Looks like we've got some future NHS staff reporters on the rise. Students at the Callahan School are enjoying the change in weather with outdoor activities such as soccer, wiffle ball, basketball, sidewalk chalk, while others relax and chat with their friends. 3rd grade students took the initiative to keep the school grounds clean following a successful cleanup on Earth Day by making posters to be put up around the school. The posters remind all to pick up trash on the ground. In addition, they are taking the time at the end of each recess to pick up any trash they find and encourage all to pitch in. The Oldham PTO provided each classroom with a bag of playground supplies. The kids are so excited to play with the jump ropes, skip-its frisbees, and playground balls. Each class also got a big box of chalk to use outside as well. The 2nd graders at the Oldham, Mrs. Haberlin, Mrs. Manning, and Mrs. Wasserman's classes all had their Rainforest Cafe lunch right before April vacation. After a month of studying all about the rainforest, parents were invited to join their students at lunchtime. The classrooms were changed into rainforests with paper streamers, green tablecloths, and lots of stuffed rainforest animals. Rainforest noises played in the background, and students made slideshows of rainforest animal research facts, which were played in each classroom. The parents and students had a great time. At the Willett School, this week, firefighter Paul Ronco from the Norwood Fire Department visited the kindergarten. He talked about fire safety and had the children practice fire safety procedures like stop, drop, and roll. He wore his gear and reassured the children that they did not have to be afraid because firefighters are there to help them. The Willett PTO sponsored the nationally acclaimed award-winning storyteller Len Cabral for the kindergartners this week. He kept the children engaged with his folktales. Thank you, Willett PTO. Well, that's it for Norwood School News. As always, thanks so much for your continued support of our school community. Now let's go to Brian Boudreau with the latest sports news.
Thanks, Tim. The big news in the Norwood sports world this week has been the pitching dominance of NHS alum and Northeastern Husky Sean Mellon. Mellon's 10 wins is tied for 3rd in wins among all Division I pitchers, and he also ranks in the top 25 in ERA and hits per 9 innings. Here at the high school, it has been a great week for the Mustangs. Boys track secured their first win of the season with a 91-41 win against Milton. Softball had 3 wins this week, blanking Sharon 11-0, beating Milton 12-4, and capping off the week with a close win over Brookline 5-3. The Bats were alive for the baseball team as well. They defeated Milton 11-1 with a great pitching performance by junior David Hayes. Boys volleyball notched its 5th win of the season, sweeping the Norton Lancers 3-0. And finally, the game of the week took place when the boys lacrosse team took on Norton. For more on that game, we go to Erin Crowley on the backfield.
Thanks, Brian. On Monday, the boys varsity lacrosse team beat Norton 5-4. Junior and midfielder Mark Dunn clinched the team's first win of the season by scoring an overtime goal. Let's check out that play and other highlights from the game.
expect them to set up the offense. Looks like they're setting up the play. Like I said, slowly settling. They're trying to end the game here.
Yeah, they are. Mark Dunn, bring it down low. He's going to bring it back out.
Reset.
Reset.
Oh, spin move.
Shoot.
That's game!
That's game!
That's game!
That's game!
That's Dunny with the
Junior
OT
captain
winner.
Mark Dunn with the overtime winner. And the Mustangs
That's awesome.
get their first victory of the year with a 6-5 win in overtime
That's
over the
amazing.
Norton Lancers.
Thanks, Aaron. To stay up to date with all things Mustang sports, follow at NHS Mustangs on Twitter. That's all for sports. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Brian. Last Friday, the Norwood Masonic Lodge selected Joy Huey of the Cleveland School for the prestigious Norwood Teacher of the Year award. Each year, the Norwood Masons ask community members to nominate teachers who have shown the utmost commitment and dedication to their students and school for this award. Lodge officer Gary Cullis gives us a look into the event and how the winner is chosen.
Tonight, we had 30 nominees recognized for that special effort from all the schools, from the Willett School all the way up to Norwood High School. We're really proud of the event. We get a chance to have a banquet. We celebrate with a meal with each of the teachers. Then the presenters come and give short excerpts of essays that were written in behalf of each of those teachers. Then there's a juror that blindly judges each one of those essays to evaluate and put a point score together. That point score is tallied, and then there's eventually one winner.
Mrs. Huey is a cherished second grade teacher at the Cleveland Elementary School who is humbled to win this year's award. She is excited that a donation will be made in her honor to the school, and she has a message of gratitude for the community.
I want to thank the Norwood Masons for their support of teachers, education, the town of Norwood in general. They do a fabulous job. We really appreciate everything they do, so thank you. Thank you to Dr. Thompson, Dr. Wyatt, for their support of teachers and the Norwood school system. All the wonderful people here who are nominated this evening, and every teacher who wasn't. Norwood is very lucky. We have some just amazing teachers in this school system.
Congratulations, Mrs. Hewitt, on this great award. Also last weekend, the Norwood Recreation Department held their annual Touch a Truck event. Many of the town departments brought their vehicles to the DPW lot for display. There were over 15 trucks in total for the children to tour.
This year we decided to move it to the DPW lot, so that way we have a little bit of an inclusion area, and that way we can barricade sides off, as well as have a lot of different trucks in such a small area. But as you can tell, I think right now it's 9:45 and we already have about 100 to 150 people here.
The children of Norwood and the surrounding towns were given tours of all the different vehicles. The DPW provided the majority of the trucks for the event, but program director Katie Seastead explained that the kids' favorite was the fire truck.
We have a lot of other organizations, or I should say town employees. We have DPW here, as well as the light, police, and fire truck. Right now it seems like the fire truck is the most popular one. However, as we are going on, we're seeing a lot of the ones that have the biggest horn is starting to become the big popular truck.
Thanks so much to the Recreation Department for organizing the event and to all the town departments for providing the trucks. That does it for this week in Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks so much for watching. I'm your host, Krista McDonald. Have a great day.